Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Fatherhood Secrets, and I have a super special guest for you guys. Listen, this guy went from the corporate world to working for himself, being his own boss, and guess what? When you're your own boss, you don't have to request PTO. You don't have to, you know, request that your family go on a vacation. The cards are in his hands, and he made the step, and so we have Mr. Gordy Tamayo, and he's going to kind of just walk us through some of the questions that we have. One of them being, was it scary going from working, getting a 9 to 5 paycheck, getting paid every 2 weeks to kind of grinding and chasing your dreams? So let's start off there. Gordy, what's up, man?
What's happening, brother? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So what was it like, man? What was it like when you finally said, you know what, I'm done. I'm quitting this thing. I don't want to answer to nobody. I want to be my own boss.
Yeah, well, if I said that it was peaches and rainbows and unicorns, I've been making that up. It was a little nerve-wracking at first, to be honest with you, because you're used to the comfortability of a 9 to 5. You're used to the predictability of, a paycheck and insurance and your schedule and PTO. It's like this controlled environment that kind of keeps you feeling comfortable. But when we decided to make the leap and whatnot, it was liberating in a sense. There was some sense of freedom in that, even though I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. So it was kind of a bundle of everything, bundle of nerves, some fear that was thrown in there. But I always had this piece in the back of my head as well when I get into those moments, and I had to ground myself in that because I knew that I was supposed to, like without a shadow of a doubt. There was an absolute certainty that that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, man. So earlier, I recorded a podcast with former NFL running back, owner of Hustle Clean, Justin Forsett, and he had talked about having like this face forward faith, and when he made the jump, like just leaned on faith and leaned on his spouse. Man, he was saying that he couldn't do it without a really strong spouse to kind of hold his family together, make sure his house was in order. And so, did you experience the same kind of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. My wife's always been my biggest supporter and biggest advocate and had my back through everything. And so it was definitely a team effort and a team decision. It wasn't something that I just decided to jump and do, but it sounds like very similar to Justin. Like I I would I would say that I was so confident in what I was supposed to do because I knew it was what God wanted me to do. And he had told me it was time to leap, and I knew what was coming, so I needed to take a jump, and I trusted him in that. And but getting my wife on board with it, and she's gotten to a point where she trusts me. She's been around through all the crazy decisions I've made and risks that I've taken that haven't worked out. But she's been able to ride through all the cycles with me, knowing when something's legit and when something's not, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
and so
So,
she
dude,
had
when
my
when
back.
you when you shared this idea with her, I want to get into two things. First of all, I want to get into her response, and then second, I want to talk about the failures. But let's talk about her response when you shared the idea with her, and you're like, you know what, God's calling me to do this, and I'm ready to be all in. Was she like,
Mhm.
okay, or was she a little apprehensive?
No, she was right on board with it. She's like, "Okay, I trust you. Like, if this is what he's leading you to do, then let's do it. And let's figure it out." And ties right into some of her. It's funny because it was I just thought of this right now. Like this just came to mind. But I remember about almost 13 years ago when my daughter was born, and you ever have a conversation with your spouse and you forget you have a conversation, and then she reminds you of it, sometime later. Well, it was one of those instances. I remember being at work one morning and I get a call from my wife, and it's like early in the morning. It's probably like 7 in the morning. I'd already been at work for a couple hours, and she's like, calls me up, and I was like kind of surprised because normally she wouldn't call me that early. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just leaving my appointment." She was pregnant with our daughter, our first daughter. I was like, "Oh, okay. Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, for sure." She's like, "I just gave my notice right now. I'm gonna be quitting in a week." And I was like, "What do you mean you're quitting in a week?" She's like, "We talked about this. Don't you remember? We had talked about I was gonna step aside and we were gonna, do it
Yeah.
this way? And I was like, not really. No, I don't remember. So I had like that panic kicked in, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. You're like, holy smokes, man. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But let's jump into the failures real quick because as for entrepreneurs for sure, like I don't think anybody's had that. Maybe they have. They've got that idea and all of a sudden it sparks and then they're sitting on yachts and driving Lambos and that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But let's talk about the failures and kind of what you experienced, maybe a couple examples.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say this is not for the faint of heart. Sometimes entrepreneurship can feel like a war of attrition, and you are just fighting every single day. And you know that like there's something at the end of the tunnel. You know you're going to hit a home run. It's just a matter of how many swings you got to take until you get there. And so, I've had a lot of failures. I've had a lot of ventures where, I put everything I had into it, time and effort, and falls on its face and just don't quite do what you hoped it would do out of it early on. That looked like me being a promoter slash booking agent when I was, running concerts and doing that kind of thing back in the day. And I remember putting up everything I had into this venture. I'll give you a little background story behind how this whole thing happened. So I didn't have any money for this venture. I'd already capped out with the money I'd been putting into an event, and what had happened was I was looking for how I was going to fund this thing because I had already committed to people to join me and kickstarting this event or series of events we were going to do. We had partnered up with some prolific artists and people that were in the industry and that we had committed to paying. And I was like, well, how am I going to make this happen? So I ended up getting introduced to a a gentleman who offered to fund the thing, and he was into some kind of shady business practices. I'll leave it at that. But he decided to fund the whole venture, and I was like, okay, well, run with it. Well, that deal ended up working out to some degree. I was able to put a show together, but that show fell flat in its face, and we did not make the money back that I was hoping to make. And here I had now this big bill that I had to pay this guy who, if I didn't come up with the money, who knows what would have happened afterwards. And so I ended up scrambling and cashing out, like a 401k, small 401k I had at the time to be able to pay back this venture, and I had to expedite everything because, he was hitting me up left and right to get it paid, and we got the deal done. So that was like one of my first ventures, if you would, into the realities of taking a leap into entrepreneurship and not really having your ducks in a row, and all of a sudden, you have a commitment that you got to make, and that's what happened with that one in particular.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, following through on some obligations, especially when I don't know, man, it's got to be pretty scary when you cash out your 401k or you dip into savings and in the back of my head I would think, man, how am I going to first set myself up for financial success and also, your family takes a direct hit and
Mhm.
how many kids did you have at that time?
At that time, I didn't have any, so it was just me. So not as much of a risk,
Yeah,
but as you get older, and you have a family, the risks become seemingly greater.
yeah,
Um, but you kind of also learn through the steps that you've taken in the past that it's either risk something or gain nothing. There's a risk to everything, and I think your endurance kind of gets built up. And I wouldn't even say even now I have the biggest risk tolerance compared to some other people that I know that are in business. They have huge risk tolerance and they're way more successful, partly because of that. And
yeah.
so I'm building up my risk tolerance and my muscle memory, if you would, to be able to do that because I've seen it take shape. And so it means calculated risk too. It's not just jumping into any venture and putting your money on anything that sounds shiny, which is another syndrome I would say that entrepreneurs have, is they got a million and one ideas, but they don't focus enough on one of them to see it through and to get some motion behind it and to see some fruit. And that's one of
Yeah.
the biggest failures that entrepreneurs have, I would say, is a lack of focus.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think I've fallen into that category myself. So that's a good point, dude. So if you had to do like if you took that situation, building, putting a venue together and what I mean, what would you do differently than you did before?
Yeah, it's ironic that this is the conversation we're having, because I'm literally in conversation with a couple of guys right now that I've been doing some business with, and they're talking about putting a high upscale event together as a networking event post a trade show that they're doing. So it almost mirrors like what I was doing 20 years ago, in the event space, music space. But this is a professional industry, but having an event tied to it afterwards that would basically get some of those people that are there that we want to do business with to this location. Once we can get their contact info, two, so we can rub elbows with these people and potentially do some business with. So what would I do differently? It's be more strategic about what the outcome is. Because back then, I would have to say, in my immaturity, some of that was about clout. It was about, trying to build this image for yourself that is really not legit. You're living a double life in a sense. You're trying to paint this perfect image of who you are, what you're after, or the lifestyle you have when, you're eating ramen at home. And so that's how it was back then. Now it's a little bit more strategic, where it's like, how is this going to lead to a potential end goal that I'm after, and what's the ROI in it, and what's the, I guess, practical ROI out of it, versus just throwing things out there, doing it on a whim, doing it on emotion, and expecting that something's going to happen from it.
Yeah, that's a good thought, man. So in this scenario, do you have a team of people that are kind of you're masterminding with and kind of putting this thing together with, or are you just doing it solo?
No, it's collaborative between three people, myself and two others. One of them would be more kind of the face of it, and more of the influencer, if you would, behind it. Another person who's more the sales end of it, kind of the front facing sales side of it, and then I'm the guy behind the scenes, kind of putting the pieces together. And
Yeah.
so, I'm not even the picture publicly about it, but we each have a strategic role in what that looks like and what's that play out. We're leaning on each other to fulfill our responsibilities, and if everybody pulls their weight, things could turn out pretty well. And so it's having a team mentality behind it, having people that are after it for the right reasons as well. Having a goal that you're all on the same page after, about a vision, I guess you could say, a centralized vision for what you're trying to get out of this thing.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump over to Digital Unicorn, your business.
Mhm.
So, what is the mission of the Digital Unicorn?
Yeah, it's to really empower entrepreneurs with their systems, to empower them to be able to optimize their businesses through technology and through systems. One of the things that I've witnessed over the years, you know, rubbing elbows with business owners, is that they're usually behind the technology boom. They're behind the speed of technology, which you could make some case to say that we all are, but they're usually way behind. And so their systems aren't up to par. They're usually the last ones to know about technology that they could leverage and really help their businesses thrive. And in many ways, help smaller businesses operate at an enterprise level, especially with the rate of AI today and automations and being able to leverage it that way. There's a lot of tools that people just don't know exist. And so they have a hard time keeping up or getting ahead or even differentiating themselves from competition because of that. And so what we're aiming to do is really empower entrepreneurs to be able to play with the big boys. And that just means getting up to par with your systems, your technology stack, and understanding how some of this stuff works, and connecting the dots.
Yeah, man. So you're so right, because and COVID really showed us this, but if you, I really feel if you don't have a good online system or a system in place to just communicate with your leads or communicate with your customers or, attract leads, you're right, man. You're going to fall behind in this space. And what I've seen on my side is, when I'm starting a new idea, I get overwhelmed with how many different things I need to learn in order
Mhm.
to jumpstart this idea, to build an online presence, to start attracting leads, that eventually I just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm I'm kind of done with this. It's just taking up too much of my time. And so are you seeing any of that with people that you initially help? Is that something that you kind of help with?
Absolutely. Yeah. Many people are frustrated by just what to do next. They get paralyzed by analysis, right? You've heard of analysis paralysis, right? And that's very true. Like people get overwhelmed with how to go to the next stage, how to scale, because they realize that there are many pieces to do that. And many of those pieces are just foreign to them because they've never been introduced to it, or they don't have the time, they don't have the bandwidth to be able to handle it. And so we see that people struggle in that space. And that's often where we end up having these conversations with individuals to say, hey, there is an easier solution. There's an easier option than what you may have thought about. And we jump in and begin to show them that, hey, we can help structure your CRM accordingly. And it can live within the same ecosystem as your email marketing tools and your text based marketing tools. And it can connect also with your social media management. And it can also be empowered by automations and AI. And so there's all these different components that you can connect together. And it doesn't have to take a team of 500 people and $1 million to pull it off.
Yeah, that's insane that you're talking about that because my wife just got into real estate. Well, not just got. She got a real estate license probably last, I would say, fall-ish, and really jumped all in December-ish. And one of the things that she can't really keep up with is the social media aspect because it's just a lot. You know, when people consume social media, it's easy to sit there and just have your face there and scroll through. But when
Hmm.
you're a producer on there, it's so overwhelming because if you're not looking for content, you're not creating content. And if you're not creating content, you're not generating leads and that sort of stuff. So she's having a really tough time, man. So how do you guys help people with that in Digital Unicorn?
Yeah. Well, really, it comes back to having a plan, and unless you got a plan in place, you're still stuck at square one. And so oftentimes we'll help people strategize on what a content plan looks like for their business specifically, catered around their brand. And then based on that, developing a plan of what platforms that's going to be executed on and what type of content. I like to look at it in a couple different pillars. When you're creating content, it's either you're educating people, you're entertaining people, or you're inspiring people. And there's other layers beyond that, but that's kind of in a nutshell, or the pillars of what I look at it as. And then what kind of media are you looking to accomplish? We have a multimedia approach to everything these days, with video content, with audio content, written, visual. There's so many different ways you could slice it. I'd say you pick one or pick a couple that are in your lane that don't take you, all your energy to accomplish, and begin executing on those. Take it at one bite at a time. Too many times people try to eat the whole elephant at one time, and that's a quick recipe for disaster and to make you tap out and quit. And so trying one thing at a time, building up to that, trying to platform, and then scaling from there is typically the approach you take.
Yeah, just master one, huh?
Hmm.
And so, I mean, one, I know I've listened to a ton of people talk about websites versus funnels. Now, do you guys help people create websites? Do you help them create funnels, or what is that main port of entry for a new client that you're trying to set up?
Yeah. Well, oftentimes you'd be surprised how many individuals don't have a basic website set up. And I kind of look at it as like that's your digital storefront. So even if you don't plan on using it as an e-commerce site, you ought to have something that establishes yourself online and gives you a digital footprint that tells people who you are, what you're about, a way to engage with you, etc. And so many people don't have even a basic landing page, and oftentimes we run into people that are like that, and that's one of the first entry points for it. It's typically either that, or they have no way to manage their contacts in their systems, because oftentimes people will have contacts in a million different places. They got contacts in Google, they have contacts in an old CRM, they got contacts in a LinkedIn newsletter, and they're like, what I do with all this stuff now, it's just everywhere. And so until you get organized and bring your stuff together, it makes it really hard to focus because you're literally scattered with all
Yeah.
your content everywhere. And it's the same thing in the social sphere, which is one of the reasons why we're stoked about what we offer because the software that we help people with and provide, it's holistically one ecosystem, right? That has all that stuff built into it. So you don't have to be in 500 different windows to schedule content and email and managing your contacts and taking a look at your projects for your tasks on these contacts, etc. It's like all in one hub. So
Yeah.
really helping people focus.
Yeah. So, dude, it's so insightful because, I mean, even if you don't plan to sell online, whether it's a service or a product, dude, the first place that I check is does this person have somewhere where I can land? And it's really to verify, like, for one, are they real or not? Are they a
Right.
scam? Or two, I know that I'm dealing with a serious business owner when their online footprint is clean and crisp. And I've been known to shy away from companies because it doesn't look clean, and so lack of attention to detail would shy me away. Man, my wife and I we chose a church one time. We were living in Texas, and we were looking for a church, and we found one, and obviously it was aligned with our beliefs, but really, dude, it was their online footprint that made us choose to go to that church and foster our family. So yeah, dude, it's super important.
Yeah, it's reputation, right? Which speaks into another, I guess, area of opportunity, which is reputation management. Like what are people seeing when they see you online? If you have a legitimate business, do they see, Google reviews on your business? And that doesn't have to be complicated either. A lot of times we're helping people set that up because it's complicated just because people don't know how to do stuff. But you can also automate some of this stuff and it's really off your hands to manage it. But having a digital footprint is super important because it's your reputation. It's what people are immediately thinking about you if they've coming across you for the first time and it's a first impression. It matters.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So I really want to put you on the spot really, really quick, just to show the viewers that are going to see this episode, kind of what you do kind of behind the scenes. So do you mind if I put you on the spot? Let's build, can you build the
Sure.
funnel real quick? Is that something
Hmm.
that you can do and put it together real fast?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's I'll share my screen here. And okay. I think you'll have to pull it up from your side, but okay, cool. So where do you want me to start? You just want me to jump in and build one?
Let's build a landing page, something that exchanges value, like something where uh, I don't know, you're collecting an email from somebody, and maybe it's a funnel or a website, whatever you choose. But maybe let's just start a business from scratch, and maybe
Okay.
it's a pizza company, or maybe it's an Amazon company you're trying to sell on
Mhm.
Amazon, that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
let's just start from scratch.
Yeah, cool. So here's kind of a back end view of the platform here. We're in a spot here where we can create everything from funnels to sites to stores to forms and surveys, etc. But I'm just going to build one, and how about we use this? We'll use the AI option, and let's call this uh, smooth cuts. And I'm just gonna play in here and see what we get here. I'll say it's a hair salon. Okay. I'm gonna let AI do the work for me to start off with. Let's see what it comes
Yeah,
up with.
dude, AI is insane. It is insane. And for those of you that are listening, man, if you guys think that AI is taking your jobs, you could do something like this, and you can have a digital footprint. And if you're
Hmm.
looking to get into entrepreneurship and starting your own gig, dude, AI is the place to be. Digital unicorn is the place to be. I mean,
Yeah,
we're waiting for this thing to build, but I mean, it's much faster than I can build it from scratch. I'll tell you that.
yeah. Well, even if we were to do it from scratch on the templates, it's pretty quick too. I could even show you that in a few seconds if we need to. But this, I'm just curious what it's going to come up with because I haven't done one with about hair before. But we'll see what it pieces together. But as you can see, there's elements and stuff that it'll put here just as a placeholder. So not bad to start off with. right? And we can edit stuff in here. But just for funsies, let me back up out of here. This is pretty quick. Okay. I'm going to back up out of here. We're going to create one from scratch. We'll find a template here. And let's do this one since we're some fellas here. Oh, and you were talking about hair earlier. All right, so we're going to use this one. So here's a template for barbershop, salon, etc.
Yeah, and it's moving quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so this is pretty fast here. Bam. Doesn't look too bad, right? You got elements in place, has a modern appeal to it, has some cool stuff in here, youthful appearance, people that care about their appearance, etc. I like it. All right.
Yeah.
And the cool part is like we got most of the placeholders for everything here. Right.
That's awesome, man. So can you use AI to generate some of that copy as well?
Oh yeah. So right here, that's what I was just jumping in here to do. So as you can see, I'm going to keep this placeholder, let's say, because I like where it's at, but I'm going to use AI to generate something here. And just to ask us, okay, provide a brief content description of what this means. So I'll just say haircuts that matter to people who care about their appearance. Let's just say. I know it's pretty general, but let's see what it comes up with. Okay. And so it's giving us two options here. I can do elevate your style, exclusive cuts for the fashion forward individual. We'll do that one. Okay. And so bam, that's in there. All right. So on and so forth. I mean, I kind of like these images, but if we didn't like the images, same concept,
Yeah,
we can
change them out pretty quick, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can pull stuff from, sites like Pixabay or Unsplash if you wanted to, find something in here that was fitting your fancy, right? I kind of like the ones that are in here. Same thing with your logo. If we were to draft one out, let me just show you something here and say emblem of a pair of scissors for a barbershop. So for those that haven't used Adobe Firefly before, it's a pretty cool program.
And it's like a logo generator, huh?
Yeah, you could do a little bit of everything for it. I've used it for so many things: thumbnails, images. I've used it to end up flipping things into GIFs and whatnot. You can actually even do short video snippets through.
Oh, really?
This as well. Yeah, it's kind of advanced itself from there. But let's say we like this one. We're going to come up with some variations here. And
see, when people are starting their business, man, they don't even know about all these tools that just make it so easy.
Yeah.
Copywriters are expensive, dude. And SEO is expensive, and building logos, all that stuff adds up, man. And I mean, you built that in a flash.
Yeah, just in a second. So as you can see, that didn't take much of any time at all to do that. And you can't see my other screen at this second, but what I'm doing is I'm uploading this picture just so I can take the background out. For those of you that have never used editing software for graphic design like Photoshop or Illustrator, etc., use something like Canva, right? Canva is super user friendly
and it's free. There's a free option,
and there's a free version. Exactly.
Yeah, and we're not sponsored by Canva, by the way, but
yeah.
it is there is a free option. I know because my wife uses it for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm just taking out the background of this image. So as you can see, it had this little blue outline here. So I'm just taking the background out of it, which is basically just a push of a button, by the way. You just click background remover and it actually removes the background for you. Okay, so I've already done it. Took me less than a minute. And we're going to just swap this logo out here. And we'll put it in here. Okay. All right, bam. So now we got the logo in here. Let's resize that. Looks pretty sharp, right?
Yep. Yeah. It looks good, man. It's crazy how advanced this technology is because doing stuff like that could take you hours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And this wouldn't take us hours at all. As you can see, we got the meat of we got the meat of everything here. I think I put something there, custom hair and beard, but most of the stuff is in here, right? And so we could literally change all this text out as easy as I said with AI, get that done. And these buttons that are here for booking appointments, I mean, the stuff's already built out for you. So in this
Yeah,
example,
dude,
we
that's
already have
awesome.
the pages built. See, it's already the schedule page is already built out for you.
So
You
that'll
just
go
connect your
straight to their
calendar.
calendar. So
Yep.
if you're a barber, you're watching this. I mean, you could upload your calendar or integrate your calendar, and bada boom,
Hmm.
bada bang. People are jumping on there. They're leaving their information. They're booking their own appointments, and so you don't really even have to have a receptionist.
Exactly. Yeah. As you can see, the
So
stuff placeholders are there for you.
yeah, for sure. So most people, I would say me, and for sure, I'm on my phone. Can you make this? Can you create this into where it looks really cool on a mobile device?
Oh yeah, bam. There's a mobile version of it. Yeah. So we can optimize this according to anything, whatever we needed it to be. But we'll
Yeah, it's
switch the
wild,
layout
bro.
here so you can see. You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
wild.
yeah,
It's
whatever you
that
need to
easy.
do. It's that easy. Yeah, legit. I mean, it's literally that easy. See, as you can
And
see, it's mobile friendly. It's customized for mobile.
and then it even has you put in your SEO data, huh?
Yep, absolutely. Most people don't think about the SEO side too much, but it's a huge uh, point to consider because, again, we're talking about your digital reputation. How do people look you up, and how do they see you when you're online, etc. And so there's a lot of things on the SEO front that obviously we won't be able to cover here today, but it's like reverse engineering what your ideal clients are looking for and the keywords they're looking for, the phrases they're looking for, and then including that in the back end of your copy. So your content title looks that way, your description that Google pulls looks that way, the copy on your web page mirrors that as well. All that matters because if it aligns with what people are looking up on Google, then they're more than likely to refer your content to that person that's looking for it.
Yeah. And so you guys help people creating all the SEO side of the business too, or is that
Yep.
kind of left for them?
No, we do. Yeah, we do definitely do that too. So the software side is kind of the entry point for individuals, I would say, and helping people realize like, hey, we have a system, a tool with systems in it that will help you optimize your business. And so there's other pieces that you're going to need help with along the way eventually, SEO being one of those. And
Yeah,
so
payment
we do offer that.
integration too. You got to be able to collect money.
Exactly. Yeah, payment integration is all part of that as well. Whether you're using Stripe or Square or PayPal, etc. I mean, you can integrate it with various payment options and connect it to products. Like we said, we got the ability to create storefronts and whatnot. So there's the ability to create products, whether that's stuff you would consider in an e-commerce store, digital download type of stuff, courses, you name it. I mean, we haven't even gotten into all that kind of stuff yet there, but the course side of things is pretty cool too. Many people haven't even thought about, packaging up their knowledge and reselling it or using it as a lead magnet for people.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the hot topics right now, dude, is like getting in a community. I know
Hmm.
Facebook has communities and that sort of stuff, but I would say the people that are, face forward on YouTube, school is one of them. What about
Yep.
communities? Do you guys build communities for people?
Yeah. I mean, here's a tangible, real one that you'll be able to relate to, maybe get excited about. So I'm actually building one out for our wrestling organization.
Oh,
And
cool.
so our wrestling organization consists of a high school, a middle school, and a club, right? And so this is going to be, a spot that's built out for that community, and you can have various groups within this community. You can have various channels. You can have various kind of what you would look at if you've used Slack before, for example. It's a good example. I have
Yeah.
channels and all that, right? But this allows you to consolidate all that, and instead of the noise that you find when you create a Facebook group because people are distracted by feeds,
And the bots,
notifications on
bro.
that, and
Bots.
exactly, and the bots, you can house your own community here. It's very focused, where they're only seeing the content within the community on their app or on the browser. You can connect it to your courses that you have within it. You can gamify it. You can connect your calendar and events to it as well. This is the gamification side of it to customize it. But yeah, it's a pretty cool feature, and this is all built into the same ecosystem.
Nice, dude. So that was super quick, bro. So back to the topic at hand. Like if you are a dad and you are wanting to make that move, and sometimes the move is super stressful,
Yeah.
but this looks like it will eliminate a ton of that stress.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, when I was getting started, I didn't even have the support, the tools or systems to be able to do stuff. And it wasn't until, you know, I started rubbing elbows with different people that were kind of gearing me in this direction that I was able to find some solace or some confidence that, hey, this could really help me out. Because without a plan, people perish, right? Like you will get frustrated, you will struggle, you will fail. It's hard enough when you do have the right tools and systems. So imagine how much harder it is when you don't have any of that. So I would definitely recommend that, you know, you anticipate what is it that your business needs. Many people will default right to a business plan, and I'm not against having a business plan in place, but it's a good idea to start, you know, structuring within that business plan if you haven't thought about it, or without it, what kind of tools and systems do I need in order to execute a business? What's going to make it prop up in order for me to actually get things going? And so you need a foundation, you need an infrastructure. And in today's day and age, something like what I showed you is an infrastructure for many people.
Yeah, that's sweet. So, man, I just want to, we're hitting that 30-minute mark, dude, and I just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
for the viewers that made it this far in the video, and if you hadn't made it this far, just let you know you're missing out. But anyway, for the viewers that have made it this far and have gotten to the end of this video, how can they loop you into their business to kind of help them get started and kind of relieve some of that stress of starting a business and starting this grind?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're more than welcome to hit us up at digitalunicorn.social. You can contact us there. There's even a chat bot there in the bottom right hand corner that you can go to, and I view every message that comes through. So you're not going off into the ether somewhere and disappearing. You know, it's myself that actually looks at all that, communicates with people, etc. So more than welcome to reach out to me there. Yeah, or hit me up on social. You can Google my name, and I'll show up somewhere.
There you are. Just say that website just again for those that miss it. Now I'll add a link below just on the bottom of this page. If you're interested, I'll put it in the description if you're interested in jumpstarting your business. But just say it one more time.
digitalunicorn.social.
All right, man. For those of you that have not subscribed to the channel, if you got value in this, hit the like button, share it with maybe somebody that you know that is kind of stressed out, grinding away, and we'll get you connected to the Digital Unicorn, man. All right, Gordy, man, you have a good night, bud.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Later.
Cheers.